everybody. Welcome to Daniel Davis Deep Dive Special Edition. We have all the scoop for you, or we're going to have the scoop for you about the presidential debate that's going to be held tonight. The Republican debate for the nomination to take on the Democratic nominee, which we presume will be Joe Biden, although that apparently is not completely settled. But in any case, the Republican nominee is definitely not settled. And tonight, there is going to be a debate on News Nation, which we'll get into in just a second. And then tomorrow, this is really a preview of what we're going to do tomorrow. Harry Kazianis, who is the senior director of the Center for National Interest of National Security Affairs. Harry is a great guy. I mean, we've had him on the show before. He's very knowledgeable. He's worked on a number of presidential campaigns, and he has advised many presidents. So there's hardly anybody that's more knowledgeable about both foreign policy and about the presidential campaign process. And he's going to be here with us, and we're going to go over a lot of the things and pull out some of the key moments from the debate tonight. But just kind of as a primer, we also want to set you up is give you a little idea of what you want to be looking for. So although there are four people in the debate tonight, Chris Christie, I think it's pretty fair to say that this is going to be his last hurrah. So we won't talk much about that. But just in case you're not aware, here's actually how the debate's going to go tonight.
We have the fourth and final GOP primary debate of 2023 this Wednesday. It's going to be streamed live from Alabama, all News Nation platforms at 8 p.m. You're looking at a sneak peek right now. That's the stage. Now, you may notice, given that there are 4 podiums, what does that mean? It means Governor Chris Christie of New Jersey made the stage. So you'll have DeSantis, Haley, Ramaswamy, and Christie.
Now, as you know, Haley has been rising in the polls. DeSantis has been kind of fading a little bit, and Ramaswamy has kind of held his position at third, but he's one of the more interesting characters. And in fact, let me just give you a little taste of kind of what he said, because he is the non-politician, at least of the group here. Obviously, Trump is the king of non-politicians, and we'll talk about him in a second. But Ramaswamy, when asked a direct question recently about the Middle East, gave a pretty direct answer.
My general rule of thumb as the commander-in-chief is crystal clear. If you hit us, whichever group does it, we will hit you back 10 times harder, period. That's actually what you have to be as the commander-in-chief, is strong. At the same time, I would also, for the longer run, take a long, hard look at much of our presence in the Middle East, places like Syria and Iraq, where we were told that we had actually removed our presence. But now we find out that we have people sitting there as sitting duck targets, fellow Americans in service. I'd take a long, hard look at that as well and say that there are many places where we have deployed our sons and daughters where we don't have any strategic reason to be in the first place.
Now, obviously, you know, if you've watched our channel for any amount of time, that's a position near and dear to our hearts. So we certainly hope that whoever is the nominee and whoever is the president will take that same viewpoint. But now let's move over to somebody who's a little bit more traditional, classic politician, and that's Nikki Haley.
Under the Trump administration, the U.S. Embassy moved to Jerusalem. As you know, that enraged many Palestinians. Settlements expanded in violation of international law, and there was no progress made toward a two-state solution. You were UN ambassador at the time. Could you and should you have done more to address the interests of the Palestinian people?
Well, I actually went to the West Bank. I actually met with the Palestinians multiple times. I actually went and saw what the situation was at hand. But let me tell you what else I saw. I saw tunnels underneath Israel, underneath schools. What they would do in those tunnels is they would store arms, they would store ammunition, they would store things so that they could go and take that ammunition to hurt people across the border. They put these tunnels underneath schools because they knew that Israelis valued life. They knew that Israelis would not go and hurt innocent people. That's what we're dealing with. So I've been in those tunnels. I've seen what has happened. I've seen the graffiti all over those buildings that have tried to say that they want to kill as many Israelis and Jews as they can.
Did you bear responsibility to do more to try to move toward a two-state solution while you had the chance to do so?
I called out the truth. I called out the truth that what was happening was that you had the entire world condemning a freedom-loving country that is a bright spot in a tough neighborhood. And the other truth I'll tell you, Kristen, is Americans need to remember, it's not that Israel needs America. America needs Israel.
Okay, well, that's interesting because she's running to be president of the United States. But first of all, she's kind of acting like a classic politician. She was asked repeatedly, could you have done more to help the Palestinian people and to get a two-state solution before this thing blew up when you were in office and had a chance to do something about it? And she adamantly refused to answer the question, answering something that wasn't even asked. It's not even related to the question she's asked. So in that sense, she's a pretty classic politician. But then the curious part was at the end, you never heard anything in there about what is in America's national interest and how can, you help the United States, but curiously saying that actually we need Israel. I thought that was very strange. We'll see if she expands on that tonight. Next, we want to move to DeSantis into a different part of the world. He was looking at the threat out of China.
What was promised in terms of this relationship with China has not been delivered. And so what's happened? The United States has been the #1 source of Chinese wealth. And what have they done with that wealth? They have built up their military. They are the top threat to this country. Now, their military may not be at our level yet, but they're going there. Their leader, President Xi, is the most ideological leader that China's had since Chairman Mao.
One of the big dings on DeSantis is that he sounds more like he's performing for the camera and trying to read lines rather than saying what he actually feels. And you kind of see a little bit of that in there. It's going to be real big for him tonight to actually move beyond that, to be more relatable, to show some more passion in something he believes, not just reciting a bunch of facts. We'll see how he does. Now, the elephant that won't be in the room is, of course, going to be Donald Trump. And he has some pretty unique positions on another major issue in the foreign policy world that is very much going to be on the plate of whoever wins the next presidential election, and that is on the Russia-Ukraine war.
Would you give Ukraine weapons and funding if you were
elected?
I
would sit down. Let me just put it a nicer way. If I'm president, I will have that war settled in one day, 24 hours.
How would you settle that war in one day?
Because I'll meet with Putin, I'll meet with Zelensky. They both have weaknesses and they both have strengths. And within 24 hours, that war will be settled. It'll be over. It'll be absolutely over.
Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I don't think in terms of winning and losing. I think in terms of getting it settled so we stop killing all these people and breaking down this country.
Now, again, going back to his, credibility and his reputation for not being a standard politician, he didn't give a standard politician answer there, and he didn't give the popular answer, which was supposed to be, yes, I want Ukraine to win. He actually said, yeah, I don't even think in those terms. I just think in terms of ending the war. And obviously, that's another stance this channel is also very much in support of. So, again, whoever wins the nomination, we hope that is part of their platform. But you're going to get to decide who actually is going to be in that position. You get to vote on both. If you're a Republican, you get to vote on the nomination process, and we all get a shot to vote in the general election. But we want to give you the inside information on, what's beyond the headlines, beyond what these people say tonight. What do you really need to know? And me and Harry Kazianis are going to break that down for you at 3:00 Eastern time tomorrow afternoon. And we will look forward to seeing you there next time on Deep Dive.